Athletic. Welcome to Milwaukee, Joe.
Thank you.
Just for you, we haven't had a chance to talk to you since you signed with the Bucks. Just what was attractive about signing with the Bucks, and kind of what did you see as the opportunity here in Milwaukee?
Yeah. I mean, it was really the first time I've been a free agent without kind of knowing I was just going to go back to Utah. There's kind of obviously different parts to my family and school and the kids, and my son Jacob being on the spectrum, making sure there was a school for him. That was not sadly, but it was probably number one. It was obviously, if there's not a school or a therapy for him, I wasn't going to go anywhere without them. So that was probably first and foremost. And then obviously at my age and where I'm at in my career, just finding somewhere, obviously a competitive team, which I clearly found. And obviously with my knee, my injury, somewhere where I can rehab and feel like I'm getting great care. So along this process, once I can get back out there, I'm as healthy as I'll be. So, a few different parts to it, but throughout the whole process, all these things, deciding with my wife and our children, obviously it was pretty clear. It just kept coming back to these guys. I spoke to numerous different people, had a bunch of people involved in the conversations, and it was pretty obvious at the end of the day that we were going to choose to come here.
Jim Lazarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Welcome. Is there? I mean, did you talk to Quinn at all? Do you know Bud? And I know there's an assistant that's come over as well. Like, kind of what's the familiarity? Maybe that beyond just some of those other things.
Yeah, no, Quinn was my main reference. Obviously, him knowing me as a player and person, and knowing where I'm at in my life and career, and he knows Renee and my children. I know Quinn very well, so and vice versa, and obviously Quinn knowing Bud and their relationship. Quinn we were in Australia at the time deciding, but we had a lot of early morning Australian phone calls with Quinn, and like I said, just all those things, basketball related, and my family and all that, he knows us very well, and especially, like I said, basketball wise with Quinn, and finding a place where I can fit and where I feel like I can help a team. And like I said, the end of every phone call ended up being Milwaukee. And so I'm glad I had him. he made it a lot easier. And like I said, it's a weird situation because it's you have all these options and you're trying to figure out what to do. And obviously my family was a big part of it. He's had to have me at home for way more, which is probably ready to us to go to Abu Dhabi next week. But it's a tough thing. I think you've seen numerous guys come out recently. John Wall had his comments about his injury and what he went through. And I mean, it's a lot harder than I would have. I've seen a lot of guys be injured in my time playing professionally, and obviously you always wish them the best and hope everything goes well, but you never know what it's really like for those guys or females in their sports. And it's rough, but I'm in a good spot. I'm very glad to be here. I've continuously kind of got better and better through this process, and just going to keep taking it kind of week by week at the moment, try and tick these boxes off as we go. And obviously the end goal is to get out there as soon as possible, with saying that, being as healthy as I can as well. So it's been some ups and downs for sure, and probably downs that I never thought I'd go through. But it's a part of the process. It's a part of being a professional. It comes with the job, obviously, injuries, and hopefully my injuries are behind me now and I can go ahead and help this team.
Hey, Joe, Lily Zell, Fox 6 Milwaukee. Whenever you make it back on the court, I guess, what kind of style of play are you bringing to the Bucks? And I mean, Drew and Chris talked about your elite level of trash talk as well.
Drew doesn't say anything on the court. Neither does Chris. Chris doesn't talk in general. Never mind. You guys probably know more than anyone. No, I think, again, going back to like the decision making of trying to figure out where to go, I think where this team's at with what they're trying to do, and being a part of that is obviously something I wanted to be a part of to compete for a championship and to be there at the end of the season when everyone else is on vacation or whatever. And speaking with Bud and with Quinn about all like the basketball related stuff, I think definitely I mean, my whole career has been playmaking. I think it's my best attribute. I think my passing is something that for me brings as much joy as scoring or shooting or whatever. And I think with the guys, I mean, they've got a lot of guys that need the ball, so I'm not going to come in and try and take the ball off it. But I think that playmaking can help. I think I can make an impact there. And I think defensively, what the team can do already, I think me being a bit of a pest out there can bring something a little bit different. I'm excited to get out there with Bobby and fire him up a little bit more than what he normally gets fired up and hype him up some more. But just a very like, I mean, look at the team, it's so complete already, and bringing back, I think I said 16 guys or whatever from last year, and me and the Rook being like the only two different guys really. It's exciting, but it's also a little nerve-wracking. Like you're the only difference, the only kind of guy they brought in different to the group. So making sure I'm ready and healthy, obviously, but then making sure I can make an impact when I do get out there. And part of that is hard, not being in training camp and missing the start of the year, but I'm going to have to find a way to speed that up. And so when I do get out there, it's as seamless as possible.
Hey, Joe. Jamal Collier from ESPN. Just kind of for clarity, where are you right now in your rehab process?
Wouldn't you love to know?
But and then just how do you understand your timeline as far as getting back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what a normal timeline for an ACL is, but it's like boring as an answer, and clear. It's kind of a week by week at the moment. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be back in the next few weeks, obviously. I had my surgery February 23, if that helps anyone. What do they say? Like 9 to 12 months, depending on the person and the situation. I'm not going to put a date on it because I don't know, and I'm not going to put the medical team or anyone like that. But throughout this process, speaking to a lot of other people and all that, and obviously setbacks that can happen and things like that, I've so far to kind of 6 months, whatever we are, I've been good. I haven't had any setbacks. I haven't had anything lingering that stopped me doing anything of these kind of boxes to tick along the way. So knock on wood, so far so good, but we are aware that things can happen. Obviously, I'm going to be ramping up over this next few months, and something might happen. I can't know what's going to happen in the future with that. But like I said, things have gone really well. I know that if you go, the medical team here is unreal, and mostly Australian, which is even better. But no, they're very good at what they do, and they've done a ton of ACLs in their careers throughout as a group. So very confident. But yeah, it's just a bit of a process at the moment of seeing how it goes.
Joe, along with talking about your trash talking, a couple of
I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm done. We got Bobby. Bobby's the one you was going to ask.
A couple of your teammates said that you're a guy that they hate playing against. Drew went as far to say he's an asshole to play against. Like, it's just
is that good or bad?
I was wondering the same thing. I guess from your perspective, like, is that a compliment that like guys say like they hate playing against you? Like, is that how you take that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's a compliment. I've had a lot of compliments or whatever in my life. I think for me, and kind of going back to Quinn a little bit, like one thing for me defensively especially was like to try and be as annoying as possible. Like I know I'm not the most athletic guy. I'm not going to beat a lot of people, most of you guys, but in a sprint up and down the court. But I know I read the game well. I know I can read the scout and know what guys want to do. And I think that's a pretty big part of this world we live in, knowing players' tendencies, knowing what they want to do. And I've got it like ingrained in my head, but this like be annoying, like just be like, especially defensively, is like trying to be a pest, trying to be annoying, which might have some of the talk involved. But there's been different game series where that's like, I know I'm not one-on-one as gifted as someone, but I know I can do things to slow them down or try and help. And at the end of the day, obviously it's about our team winning. Like if someone scores more than me, but we win, it's like, cool, at least I did my job to help us win. So yeah, I'll try and be as annoying as possible.
Lance Allen, WTMJ. Joe, you mentioned it's 16 returning players, which is rare in the NBA. It's you and basically Marjan. Have you, as a veteran, are there things you've learned to kind of ingratiate yourself and kind of, build that chemistry and fit in as quickly as possible? Or does it take time, no matter how many times you've been in the league or how many years you've been in the league?
I mean, it definitely I was lucky to play with George and Grayson in Utah. There's a couple of coaches I've known throughout, like you get to know so many people in the NBA. Like I feel like I know how, like Quinn and Drew had a good relationship, and Quinn would talk about Drew before I even knew Drew. So just knowing guys like that and playing against guys internet, like there's so many different ways you see and watch and play. And like I said before, like I guess the most frustrating part for me coming to a new team is not being able to be in training camp and not have those relationships on court. I think off the court, like when you're either pretty mature group of guys like this that know what their kind of goals are, and I'm the one that's trying to fit in. They're not trying to fit in with me or my life. It's not ideal, I guess, not doing training camp and not being there for that part of or first chunk of the year. But like I said, I'm going to be with the coaches, be with the players as much as I can over this next however long until I play, and try and make it as seamless as possible, watching film and watching where I'm going to be in certain situations. So when it happens, it'll be the first time physically standing on the court, but not the first time that I've seen that action or a shot from that spot or whatever it looks like. So I'll be rehabbing a lot, but I'll be also doing a lot of work with the players and coaches to make sure I am ready to go when the docs clear me.
I know it'll be a bit before you can experience this live, but having played against Giannis, knowing your game, how
I'm excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you like to know what that gravity is? I know Grayson at one point last year said he's never been that open, and it was weird to him. Yeah. So what do you kind of, when you examine that, what were you kind of looking at and feel about you fitting in with maybe that much space? Yeah,
I mean, it's different. I first played in Utah with, like, we played two bigs with Derek Favors and Rudy, so the space was less, and Quinn figured out ways for it to be successful. And I think the first thing I kind of thought about was like the playing pick and roll with Giannis. Like I said, I've played with Rudy, and who's a lead at rolling. Me and Derek Favors had a really good connection with the second unit for a couple of years there. And no disrespect to those two, but Giannis is different to them. They're all different in their own ways. And I was able to make it work with those two. And I think with I mean, I know it seems like it'll be very easy. Giannis's IQ, the way he can roll, the way he can finish. Obviously, he's got great hands. There's not going to be many dropped passes or anything. Like, he's just going to be able to kind of get it and finish. And as we all know, he's finishing over everybody. So there's no concern of that. So it's just it'll be different to Rudy Fave, other guys I've played with in my career. But again, it's not going to be perfect. I'm sure I'm going to pass it too early or too late at some point. And even just the spacing on the floor, like when you're out there with those guys, even Brooke spacing the floor, like, I mean, I've heard Grayson say it as well, like, it's different being that open. Like, your NBA players are so good at closing space so quickly. And for Grayson to say that he's like was still open even after that, with the attention those guys bring, Drew, Chris, Giannis, all those guys, it'll be different. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be perfect. I hope it is, and I hope it's seamless, and I hope it's not the one of the one guy that's different, or two guys that are different this year that's causing a bit of a funk. But I think as this plays out, I think we'll all figure out how to make it work. And obviously, me coming here was confident that I could make it work, even from the point of coming in at whatever time of the year. So when you're playing with guys that do have high IQs and know how to play the game and play together, you guys know how well they play together. I think I can just be a little piece that comes in at that point of when I can. And like I said, hopefully it's seamless, but we'll see what happens. I'll come up here and answer your questions if it's not.
How extensive was the bargaining for number 7?
It wasn't. I actually texted Grayson. I obviously knew Grayson from Utah and made a bit of a joke about like I only came to Milwaukee to take number 7 from you. I've been 2 I've actually been 7 my whole career. 7's retired in Utah, so I took 2 because of a friend, Jared Rufford, who plays AFL, was number 2, and then 2's retired here. So it was a bit of a joke. And then the next morning we were texting, and he was kind of like, I don't really care that much about my number, so like kind of like you can have it if you want. And I was like, really? Because I will take it. I'm more than happy to. But as we all know, the things that happen to get numbers around here, so I will look after him. I'm not going to give him money, but I will get him a little gift of. I'll get my wife to, because she's way better at buying presents. But and he just got married, so we'll get him a little something. But I'm used to 7's natural to me, so I'm glad to be starting fresh with a new number. Thanks, guys.